G'day guys, Benny G here from Benny's Best Bets, and we are in the second video of my series where I'm going to go through all the quarters of who I believe is going to get through. So if you haven't seen my first video for this series, click the link, it's going to be in the description. I won't let you know who's in there. It's pretty obvious, it's MVG's quarter. You can work out the rest. But in this video is going to be about the quarter of death. Now this is going to be a very interesting video because you're not going to work out who I believe is going to get through that quarter and make it into the semi-finals. Now let's run through our seeded players that we have for this quarter. You have, oh, and before I say any more, we have 8 world titles between 4 of the players in this quarter. We have, and that's not even it. We also have a youth world champion. You also have a major winner, and then the other two, one player that's in top form, and then you have poor old Jamie Hughes. Welcome to the PDC, my brother. So our seeded players. From the top, Michael Smith, our youth world champion. Devin Pearson, the form of his career. Gary Anderson, 2-time world champion. Mensur Suljovic, major winner. Rob Cross, former world champion from 2 years ago. Jamie Hughes, welcome to the PDC, brother. Glenn Durrant, 3-time world champion with the other association in the BDO. And Adrian Lewis, a 2-time world champion. Now, what a quarter. That's just the seeded players. It doesn't get easier even from the second round. And I'll talk about that in more detail in just a moment. So running through this quarter, you're not actually going to believe who I believe is going to get through this quarter. Guys, it's going to be somebody that's not seeded. And you're probably guessing who I'm thinking about already. Now I've put a lot of thought into this video, and I'm going to go through exactly why I believe this player is going to get through. And his name, which I haven't mentioned, is none other than Damon Hedder. Now I have to run exactly through why I believe he's going to get through, and let's get started. I think Damon Hedder is going to win his first match against Danny Baggish. Then he's going to face in the second round Adrian Lewis. I think he's actually, and the bookies have him to do better than Adrian Lewis. I think he's actually a favorite to make it to the semi-finals over, I looked at it today. He's I think he's paying €9 to get to the semi-finals, whereas Adrian Lewis is €11. So he's actually a bigger favorite to get through. Obviously, he's not as big a favorite as some of the other players in there to get to the semi-finals, which we will get through. Next, we have next you'll have to play the winner of Glenn Durrant, or I believe that Steve Beaton will beat Diego Portela. That's going to be a hard match, but I think Steve Beaton in his 30th World Championships, he's going to cause some damage. So I think he's going to, and then Beaton is going to beat Glenn Durrant. You heard it here first. Glenn Durrant is playing very, very poorly, and I think he's actually going to cause an upset in that second round. And I'm going to do a video on who I believe are some upset second round wins. It's a little bit hard to make that video when we haven't had the first round yet, but I think I have a solid foundation where I believe there's certain players. There's going to be upsets. There always is in the World Championships, but I believe there's going to be a few players that are not only going to win their first round, but get through their second round. And two of them I've already mentioned, Steve Beaton and Damon Hedder. I think Damon Hedder's a better player than Steve Beaton. He's playing better darts, and I think he'll win that third round if that's a possibility. If Glendowen gets through, it doesn't matter. He's going to win that third round match anyways. Then he's going to face, I believe, out of the next eighth, it will be Rob Cross. Rob Cross has got a really tough match against Dirk van Duijvenbode, who I think will win his first round. And then I think Rob Cross will win. Rob Cross will then likely face Jamie Hughes, in my opinion, and then he's going to beat Rob Cross, which will then put him in a quarter-final spot with, I believe, the best player in the other eighth is Michael Smith. I think it's going to be between Michael Smith and Damon Hedder to get through, and I think Damon Hedder, after he's had some world champion experience, got some confidence, he can produce some amazing darts and get through to that semi-final position. Now, the only problem is that he's going to have to face MVG, likely in the semi-final, but what he has in his favor, that he's had, if this happens, he's had some, he's gone through the quarter of death. So, and looking at the quarter compared to MVG's quarter, MVG probably can get through on his B game. He might have to play somewhere close to his A game, but I think MVG's B game is still 100 average and 100 to 104 average. So I think he can win most matches with that, because MVG's A game is 110 average plus. So I think he can cruise through, which would make a very, very interesting semi-final. Now, guys, this is very bold, very bold. I know it's a huge long shot. I always put my money where my mouth is, and I have put a small €5 bet on Damon Hedder to win, to get through to the semi-finals. What do you guys think? I've put my heart on my sleeve for Australia, but I think there's some validity to it. And before you go on the bandwagon, you're just saying this. As much as I love Simon Whitlock, I don't have him to get through his quarter. Spoiler alert, I think, he is in the next quarter, so I'll talk about that in more detail in the next video. But the only thing before I finish off this video, I have to talk about some of the matches that Michael Smith has to get through to get there, because I think Michael Smith will win his second round match fairly easily. Then he's going to have, I was tossing up between whether it be Michael Smith or Devin Peterson, because Devin Peterson is playing some fantastic darts. So Devin Peterson, if you're watching, or any fans of Devin Peterson, I have not forgotten about you. It was so tough for me to work out who was going to win that third round match. And it's a toss-up, it's a coin flip. I kind of hope that Devin Peterson wins, because I think Devin Peterson is a better match for Damon Hedder than what Michael Smith is. I think Michael Smith would be a much harder player. But saying that, because Damon Hedder is such a calculated player and doesn't throw his darts very fast, I think either player could work in his favor. but Michael Smith is a fucking machine. So I don't think slow players are going to upset Michael Smith too much, and that should be really interesting. For you Gary Anderson fans out there, you're probably wondering why I've written him off, and that is only because of his recent form. I can't. I know it's the Worlds, and he's struggling a bit with his health and his back and stuff like that. And the World Champs is just such a long format. Now I kind of think Mensur Suljovic can beat him in the third round. I do believe that Gary Anderson will get through his second round match, and I think Mensur Suljovic will get through his second round match. They're going to face each other, and I think that Mensur will beat Gary Anderson. Then Mensur is going to play the winner of Devin Pearce and Michael Smith, which is a coin flip. So don't take any bets on my behalf on that particular scenario, because I have no idea. I think it's 50-50. I think it's going to be evens or very close to evens with the bookies. But whoever wins that will beat Mensur Suljovic in the fourth round or last 16. So that is my predictions for that second quarter, guys. What do you think? Damon Hedder for a upset semi-final against MVG. If you haven't seen my first video, I gave you what my prediction is already, MVG to get through, but it just gets in more sort of detail, sort of the little hiccups that he probably will have along the way. But yeah, that's it for that one. Stay tuned, because I will be putting out a third video very, very soon, talking about who's going to get through in the third quarter. Then shortly after that, there'll be one on the fourth quarter. So stay tuned, guys. This is Benny's Best Bets, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.